Stefanski is one of an outstanding coach. All right. But why the hell isn't he putting Shedeur Sanders? We're all waiting to see the Shedeur Sanders be the guy or Gabriel, whatever. Something's missing. Something's missing with this kid. This kid talks. He runs his mouth like I could be a starting quarterback with his arms crossed like this. Get your ass in the front row and study and do all that. If I know, the whole league knows. Quit being an embarrassment that way. You got the talent to be the quarterback. You should be. You should be embarrassed that you're not the quarterback now.
See if they make a change there.
Certain aspects, but at some point in time, when Rex Ryan is coming back saying the same thing that had you slide in the draft to begin with, unnamed narratives, unnamed.
Yeah.
So when you say if I know it, everybody in the league knows it.
Yeah.
You're lying, Rex Ryan. The pictures are right there. When you this trope, and we'll finish on this. This trope that you're lazy and you don't want to do stuff has been a trope on quarterbacks of color for years.
That is correct, yes.
It has been. So when you start throwing out that you don't have the cognitive ability, you're not smart, and they juxtapose that with the guy who's saying you're a supercomputer. You're a supercomputer, but you're lazy and you don't want to put the work in. Then you have a problem because you're consistently attacking my character, even though you see me out at Baldwin Wallace throwing the football, even when you see me doing extra. His arm was so sore because he stayed after practice for weeks and weeks and weeks just throwing the football. But yeah, every time you want clicks, you want to throw the narrative that you're lazy and less than. I can understand when he wants to get a little angry and excitable, because at some point in time, you got to stop sitting back taking in darts. Here's the thing I would say to him. Hey, what you do, your point was made. Here's now what you do. Tuck yourself away and get ready to play. Your point was made.
Yeah.
You don't have to go back and forth with Rex Ryan.
Right.
You know what they're going to bring. You know what's coming with it. So what you do now is you say, okay, log that away. Now when I get my opportunity, it's time to go.
And I have a little beef to pick with Rex Ryan. After what he said about Shedeur Sanders. He is in no position to talk about Shedeur Sanders. Okay, Rex Ryan has now had multiple chances to be successful in the NFL, and he blew it. He should have been in the film room longer. He is the laughingstock. Okay, when he was with the New York Jets, his entire career was marked by the butt fumble. And then he comes with the Bills. He comes in, says he's going to win the Super Bowl, tries to get the entire city behind him, and he absolutely flopped on his face. Rex Ryan, you are a clown. Shedeur Sanders is a better man than you, so don't ever talk about him again. Keep Shedeur Sanders' name out of your mouth, Rex Ryan.
After receiving heat for remarks he made against Cleveland Browns rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders on Monday's episode of Get Up, ESPN commentator Rex Ryan was penalized by the network. Fans, players, and even Sanders' relatives swiftly took notice of and criticized Ryan's on-air remarks, in which he branded Sanders an embarrassment. Ryan was responding to remarks made by Sanders on ESPN Cleveland last week, in which the rookie quarterback voiced confidence in his potential to contend for a starting position in the NFL during Monday's Get Up. "I know I can do better than that if you watch the quarterback play in the league right now," Sanders remarked at the time. Ryan criticized those comments on the show, telling the audience and the Get Up panel that Sanders' self-assurance was misguided. Ryan remarked, "There's something wrong with this child. This kid can be a starting quarterback with his arms crossed like this," he added, talking and running his mouth. "Put yourself in the front row, study, and take care of everything else. Stop being such an embarrassment. You possess the ability. You ought to be ashamed that you aren't the quarterback at the moment." Sanders was ranked third on Cleveland's depth chart at the time of Ryan's remarks, behind rookie Dylan Gabriel and veteran Joe Flacco. Sanders is now in the same number 3 spot after Flacco was benched and Gabriel was promoted to starter. In a since-deleted Instagram post, Saunders' mother, Par Saunders, vehemently denounced Ryan's comments. "This is what impotent, malignant, jealous energy looks like to young football players and supporters," she wrote. "This kind of evil has existed for a very long time, seeping through all of its decaying wormholes and embedded in blood and bones. Who and what does he actually stand for? His peers and family ought to feel ashamed to be aware of this and display it on their platforms. This kind of behavior has no place in athletics." Before being removed, her message received a lot of shares and generated a lot of conversation on social media and in sports media. Shedeur Sanders' response, or lack thereof, went viral a few days later. Instead of speaking out loud during Wednesday's post-practice media availability, Sanders opted to mime his responses. ESPN's Adam Schefter was informed by team officials that the action was a reaction to Ryan's previous criticism. Using the hashtag #SilentStand, the bizarre video of Sanders silently mouthing answers to reporters' questions quickly went viral on social media. Many supporters saw it as a symbolic gesture, with a young player letting his actions speak for him rather than engaging in conflict. Coach Prime, Dion, Hall of Famer Sanders, Shedeur's father and Colorado's head coach, only shared a single she emoji on X, formerly Twitter, instead of issuing an official statement. Fans saw the quick reply as a veiled jab at Ryan's criticism, as well as support for his kid. Ryan was summoned to a disciplinary hearing on Wednesday morning, according to sources who spoke to ESPN. According to reports, network officials were worried that his remarks went too far in a professional direction and turned from criticism to personal assault. The following comment was later sent by an ESPN spokesperson. All on-air comments are taken seriously by us. Our journalistic and professional standards were not met by Rex's remarks against Shedeur Sanders. The issue has been resolved internally. Ryan has been placed on a 1-week unpaid suspension and will have to apologize on air before he can return to Get Up, according to multiple sources who spoke to ESPN. Ryan acknowledged the topic directly at the beginning of the show when he returned to the Get Up set on Friday morning. Before the presentation begins today, I would like to discuss a few points, Ryan stated. I said something unjust last week against Shedeur Sanders. I went from criticism to disdain. I don't want to be that person. Keep proving them wrong, Shedeur, if you're watching. You're a talented young one. Display it. Online responses to Ryan's remarks were not quite unanimous. After what they saw as a personal attack, several supporters questioned whether the apology was sufficient, while others applauded him for accepting responsibility. Back in Cleveland, Sanders has continued to concentrate on football. In a brief chat with the media on Thursday following his silent interview on Wednesday, he stated that he wished to proceed. Sanders remarked, "I respect the game. All I'm doing is working. Silence can sometimes speak louder than words." Sanders is listed as the quarterback for the Browns' third game of the season, which takes place in London on Sunday against the Minnesota Vikings. Rookie Dillon Gabriel is anticipated to start. The event has rekindled discussion about where to draw the line in sports commentary between objective analysis and personal jabs, especially when it comes to young players who are still figuring things out in the game. On his podcast, I Am Athlete, former NFL wide receiver Brandon Marshall discussed the issue and claimed that the controversy symbolizes a generational split. Marshall claimed that Rex hails from a time when coaches called guys out and yelled at them on television. However, it impacts differently in 2025. These young athletes have supporters, platforms, and families who are prepared to fight back. The balance of power has shifted. Current players also had something to say. Tyreek Hill, a receiver for the Miami Dolphins, tweeted, "Shedeur handled that like a pro. Power comes from silence." Since joining ESPN in 2017, Ryan, a former head coach of the Buffalo Bills and New York Jets, has been a mainstay, renowned for his direct and frequently flaming manner. He catalyzes controversy as well as a ratings booster. Ryan is being formally disciplined by the network for his on-air comments for the first time. Insiders claim that Ryan's future at the network may hinge on how he responds to the fallout from this incident, even though ESPN has not stated whether any additional action will be taken. We value passionate analysis, but we also value respect, especially toward young athletes who are still learning. An executive who wished to remain unidentified said in an internal staff memo to ESPN, "Everyone can learn something from this time." Shedeur Sanders has faced criticism and pity as a result of the scandal. After a stellar collegiate career at Colorado under his father, the youngster was selected in the 5th round and has since been subjected to increased expectations and comparisons. However, Sanders might have benefited even more this week from a widely shared act of silence and the ensuing public backlash. Show respect. He didn't shout. He didn't post a tweet. He simply fell silent. Brown somehow prevailed in the entire dispute after one of his teammates told ESPN in an anonymous manner. Ultimately, the message went beyond football. Particularly when delivered on America's biggest sports stage, words have weight. And additionally, as demonstrated by Shedeur Sanders, silence can sometimes speak louder than any analyst's microphone.